G'day, Peter from Oz Commercial Sewing Machines here. Today's video is going to be all about the presser foot pressures on the walking foot machines from Jack, which is, this machine is the H2, it covers the H5, the H6, I believe it also covers the 2030 and 2060 compound feed machines, which I haven't really had much to do with at the moment, but what we've got here, this front bolt controls the pressure on the center foot, which is the stationary foot. This one, it's wall one assembly there, that regulates the pressure on the actual walking foot, the outer foot, okay, so which is controlled by all this mechanism around the back here. Now, I've got this set up at the moment for doing, it's all the way out for doing some different types of fabrics, fairly thick canvas and stuff like that. But when you're working with leather, even with all the springs in place, there's two springs in this back mechanism. Now, even with both of those springs in there all the way out as far as this mechanism will go, it's still leaving feed marks on the actual leather. So today I'm just going to show you how to use this regulator. Now, to use the two springs that are inside, now this top one, this top section here, there is a spring inside there, but there's also a big heavy spring inside this outer unit here, which puts a lot of pressure on it. So what I'm going to do, now, you should have received one of these in your toolkit when you bought your machine. Now these, this particular one, the small end is for undoing the securing nuts so that you can adjust your tensions. Now that one there, there's no pressure or anything on that one. That's just the top section of the main foot. I'm going to take that out. Now this bottom section here is the captive nut for this big section here, so I'm going to release the pressure on that. You don't need to do them up too tight because otherwise you will never, you'll not get them undone. So, and then we're going to release this, and be careful of that, there's a lot of pressure on it. This is the large spring, okay, which is the main spring. Now you can see that there is not much pressure on that at all. Now what we can do though is put this back in and go a fair way down, because there's no spring pressure in there anymore, but there is the secondary spring if you need more pressure. Okay, so we're going a fair way down. Now this little device here will put that captive nut all the way up. Now when you put that in, you'll feel it stop there, and there's a spring there which is internal pressure to create a little bit of pressure that you need, and you'll feel that the pressures are increasing the further in you go. So we can release this as much as we need to. Okay, so that's fine. Right, that's fine. That's about all we need, and you can feel that when you lift the foot up. Now you can release it a little bit further if you wanted to lift up this outer unit, and that's hardly any pressure on that at all. So we'll call it that. So you've still got a little bit of pressure there on the spring, you can see that, so we'll go with that. Now there's not much you can do with this front one, but the middle foot does not mark as much as what the outside ones do. So what we've got there is enough pressure, but we can still sew. I'll just adjust the length to cut the length down a little bit. As you can see, where are we? There we go. Okay, so that's not marking at all, really. Now, even on the back side, you're not getting anywhere near as much marking as what you normally would. You're still getting a little bit down there, but usually that back side is hidden. But even so, if you wanted to get less than that, you could probably adjust the lower feed, because they do come up a fair way. You can see that there. They're sitting on the feed dogs there. But on the top, on the most important part, you're not getting any marking at all. Now this is fairly solid thread. This is M20 spun polyester. You can see that. It's about the thickest thread that I've been able to get run successfully, and those stitches are quite nice. That's the back side, and that's the front side. I could probably still tighten up the top tension a little bit, but it's not too bad. Now when you want to finish using this machine for leather, it's very easy. You just reverse the process. You just undo this, put your spring back in place. Now you're going to have to push down quite substantially to get that on there, and screw it in at the same time. It's not easy, but it is possible. There we go, we've got a few threads. Screw that down, and we're back to where we started. So I hope this helps. This is quite a good little feature that we can do just to lessen the pressure on this presser foot, just to make your work nicer on vinyl and leather, and even some cottons. People have been saying that they've been getting presser foot marks on their cottons when they're sewing lighter fabrics. So if you're sewing lighter fabrics or fabrics that mark easily, remove that main spring and you should be up doing a nice stitch with very little marking at all. So give that a try and see how you go. Thanks for your time. Bye bye.